Welcome or welcome back to Crafts by KMW. Thank you so much for joining me and clicking on this video today. I hope you enjoy it. I'd like to also shout out to my subscribers and especially to the new ones. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy it. As always, please let me know if you have any video requests or any pages you would like me to do a color along with, especially for Christmas. This is my second Christmas color along in the same book. And for my third one, which I will do probably next week, I want to use a non-Christmas book and just pick a page out of that and use Christmas colors. So if you have any suggestions for me, let me know in the comments. I would love to try to accommodate that if I can. I would also like to just say real quickly before I begin, please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. It really helps me out. And if you're not subscribed yet, I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you get access to all of my previous videos, as well as access to all of my newer videos that I post. I am working really hard to reach that first 1,000 subscribers, so every subscription really matters and I appreciate it so much. So the color along today is in this really cute book, Vintage Christmas Greetings by Marty Noble. This is a Creative Haven / Dover published coloring book. This is the only Christmas coloring book that I own. Thus, that's why I'm doing the second color along in this book. The first color along is up on the channel already, and this is the page that I did. I think it really came out good. I had a few snafus, a few issues, but it all worked out in the end, and I really liked the final product. So you can check that out if you would like to. But today, we're going to be doing this adorable page with the little girl holding a poinsettia plant, and it says, "With Christmas Wishes." So again, I chose one that doesn't have too much going on in it because I like to try to keep these to like 2.5 to 3 hours. I know if you've watched any of mine, you're like, what are you talking about? They're like close to 4 hours. Yes, they are. Most of them. The last one I think was about 2.5. So I'm hoping to keep this one to that or even a little bit shorter. So we'll see how I do. So today I'm using some different supplies than I used in the last one. I like to mix it up a bit, and I also like to use my supplies that I have bought with my hard-earned money. So today we're going to be using Prismacolor pencils instead of Brut Fooners, which I used in the previous one. And I think I have one Crayola pencil in there because I like the color. But I will show you each color as I actually color each element. And then I'm also going to use gelatos. I'm using 3 colors of gelato. I am using Iced Chai, which is sort of like a bronze, and it's a metallic color. And then I'm using Odyssey, which is a gold iridescent. And then I am using Black Hole, which is also an iridescent. So these should have a little bit of shine to them. Now, if you don't have gelatos, these are made by Faber-Castell, and they are basically like watercolor sticks. So they're dry, kind of like an oil pastel. And then when you add water to them, they become a paint. If you don't have these, you can use anything. You could use chalk pastels, you could use pencils, you could use watercolors, you could use regular paint, whatever you would like to. And then I also have some select gel pens to use. I'll probably use some white. I will definitely use my black glaze gel pen by Sakura, which is a jelly roll. And that's pretty much it. So I also have some water and a few paintbrushes, a larger one and a smaller one. And that I will use with the gelatos. I also have my pencil sharpener nearby, and I have my colorless blender, which is a Prismacolor. So we are ready to go. So I am going to do this part, this frame part of the background first. I normally don't do backgrounds first, but the reason I'm doing it here is because there's a lot of elements that overlap. The words, her shoes, the poinsettias, even a little bit of the bow. And if I make a mistake and kind of get some of the gelato on these elements, I want to be able to fix it before it's colored. So I can either color over it with the colored pencils, or if it's going to be too dark, I can just go over it with my Posca pen or a white gel pen. So I will have minimum mess ups and parts that don't look very good. So what I thought I would do is I want to use each of these 3 colors to make this frame look dark, but also shiny and sort of Christmassy by using the gold and the bronzish color. I think the Ice Chai is really meant to be more brown, but because it's a metallic, it looks more bronze, so it fits in. So what I'm going to do, and there are a couple different ways to use these gelatos. This is how I like to use them. So I am going to just color in different areas with each color, and then I'll use the water to blend them and turn them into a paint. So if you've never used gelatos before, they are really, really fun, and I highly recommend them because they are really a joy to work with. I have used them on so many pages. I use them more for backgrounds, but I find that I have used them for other elements as well. And they're just so creamy and really nice to use. You don't have a lot of control with them when you use them right from the stick, but I don't go super close into any lines. I just stay a little bit away, and then when I wet it and I use my brush, I can get in there closer. So I'm using the Ice Chai first. And I'm just coloring, oopsie, I got a little bit there. I am just coloring randomly, just making some patches of each color. And what I've learned from gelatos is the thicker that you put it down when you first color, the easier it is when you start with the water. And I've also found that that helps you to not have to come back and do another layer or another coat. So my voice may sound a little funny today. I am a little under the weather. I feel like I'm getting sick, and I'm trying to head it off because I don't want to be sick. I don't want to miss work. I don't want to be sick. I have too much to do, too much going on. So I have been popping pills and Halls cough drops and just trying to keep myself rested and not too stressed, not too worked this weekend, so I can go to work and hopefully not be sick, or at least still be able to function. So now I am going to be using the gold, and this is a really nice light gold. It's like a nice, bright, shiny gold. I like this. I'm not totally worried about going on the words as much, on the letters, because I'll go over those. I'm gonna use the black gel pen, so I think I'll be able to cover it pretty well and not have anything showing through that I messed up. So it should be okay. You do have to work kind of fast with gelatos. You don't want them to dry out at all. So I'm trying to be deliberate while at the same time going as fast as I possibly can. You can use as many colors as you want. I'm just using 3 here because this is not a huge space. So if it were like an entire page or half a page, I might add another color in. And now I'm using the black hole, which is the black, and I'm just gonna fill in all of the other areas with the black. They have several shades of black. They have, or I guess I should say, shines of black. They have like just a matte one. I think that's called black licorice. And then they also have, I think, one other one. That's a metallic. And I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't find mine of that one, so I used the iridescent. The iridescent's pretty. It has a little bit of kind of a purpley look to it when it's wet and in its painted form. It looks kind of neat. So I'm just doing a little bit between these letters. I don't want to get too much black on them. And again, I can get in between there with the paintbrush. My Finny says hello to everyone. He is sleeping soundly, I believe, somewhere in another room, probably in the bedroom. All right, so I have all the color on. And I absolutely agree with you if you're saying, oh, that looks really awful. And it does. I totally agree with you. But the magic will happen in just a second. So I'm going to start with the small paintbrush and get around these letters in the tight areas first. So as you can see, the water immediately melts the color and turns it into a really cool, like, watercolor. I'm not sure if it is called watercolor, but that's what I'm calling it. I'm not sure if Faber-Castell thinks of them as watercolors, but I do. And as you can see, I definitely got some of the paint on the letters, but again, I can fix that. I'm gonna go over the words with gel pen so that will not show up. These spread really nicely, so you can go a good long way once you wet your brush and get it in the color. I didn't really do too much black around the letters because I'm going to be coloring them, I think, at least right now, I have in my mind to color them in with black gel pen. So I didn't want to have too much black around the letters, but actually now that I'm looking at it, I'm kind of thinking that it might be better if I did the letters in red. So maybe I'll do that instead. I'm just gonna go get in these little tight areas of this little, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, if it's supposed to be an area of wetness or like water or ice or even snow. I have interpreted it as a shadow. So I'm going to color that in grays. But I think it definitely could be interpreted different ways, 100%. Okay, now I'm going to use my thicker brush. One thing when you work with gelatos, you do need patience. It does take a little bit of time to get the look that you want. And you need to use, I wouldn't say a lot of water, but you do need to use enough. If you don't use enough, you won't melt it good enough, and then it'll stay kind of looking like a crayon, and that's not what you want. The paper will get wet. I have a piece of paper underneath this page. So I'm kind of looking at this, and I do sort of like how it's turning out, but the only issue I'm having right now is that it looks kind of fallish. It looks very autumny, so I don't know, I might have to do something to correct that. It kind of reminds me of a recent autumn color along I did, where it was kind of like a mandala shape, and I did the background with shades of brown and orange and yellow, and it looked kind of like this. That one was in a Millie Murata book. You can check that out. It's on the channel if you'd like to see that one. So I don't know. Right now, I'm not 100% in love with it. But we'll see how I feel about it. I don't know, it might be that I need more black. Or that I need to add something else in, like red or green. I don't know. So we'll see. It's always a little bit of a risk when you do something different, like using paint or gelatos, or like I did on the last one, texture paste. You just don't know. Sometimes you just don't know how it's going to turn out until you're finished. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. I think that's one of the reasons I really love coloring. It really is an art form. Even though you are not creating the image that you're coloring, you are adding color to it. So you're bringing the image alive. So it's definitely an art form, and as such, it can go well or not so well. All right. So I'm just going over some areas again. I think actually I'm just gonna go over these letters just to smooth out. It's just not looking very smooth at all. So I'm just gonna go over it, and I can still see them, so I'll be able to go over them with my gel pen. All right. So it does kind of look like antique gold in a way. So let me hold it up so you can see the whole thing. I just don't want to pull the camera too far away, because then I can't see it and make sure that I have everything in frame the way I want it. So I think, I'm not sure I want to add another color to it. So I think what I'm going to do is just add some black along the outside edge and along the inside edge. We'll see if that helps. So I'm just gonna come back with the black hole and just add black along the edges. Hopefully you can see this. So it's still drying a bit, which is fine. Before I start coloring, or coloring with the pencils, I will definitely allow this to dry completely. All right. So now I'm gonna wet this down, blend it out. I don't really care if I'm getting any outside of this, because I will most likely color that area either with a black Posca like I did with the other one, or maybe red Posca or something, or maybe I'll paint it with some metallic paints I have, red or black. So I'm not totally concerned about staying in the lines. I'm trying to, but I am, if I don't stay in the lines perfectly, I'm okay with it. Last year I bought the biggest bag I've ever seen of Hall's cough drops. It's like, I don't know, I think it was like 2 pounds of cough drops or something crazy. And I didn't use them. I bought them at the end. I bought them at the end of the season, and excuse me. And so yesterday when I started having a little bit of a sore throat, I pulled them out and I just can't believe how many there are, but they should last all season. For anyone who needs them. All right. I think I am actually liking this more now, with a little more darkness around the edges. I think I like it. It makes the frame look a little bit darker, which I kind of like. It doesn't look so fallish anymore. So I think I'm happy with it. So I'm going to let this dry completely, and then I will come back and begin coloring with the Prismacolors and a little bit of gel pen. Okay, so this is dry. So as I've been looking at it, I've decided that I like it better, but I feel like it needs a little pop. So I'm gonna add in some red, and this one is Mars. It's also an iridescent, and I'm not going to color directly on here. So I am doing it on just a scrap sheet of paper. And then I'm gonna dip the water and the brush in it and make kind of like a paint palette. I've done this in at least one other video and it worked really well. And at least on one other page that I did. All right. And I'm just gonna lightly brush. Hopefully you can see that. Sorry if you can't. Okay, there we go. Some of the red on here. I'm just doing it very strokey, kind of artsy, I guess. I just want a little hint of the red. And again, I'm going right over the letters because I'm gonna do those in gel pen. Okay. I've not used a lot of water, so I haven't really wet the paper too much. Yeah, so that gave it a little brightness, a little pop of color. So I like that better. So I'm just gonna give this another minute or two to dry, and then I will start the coloring. All right, I am back. So everything is dry and I'm ready to move on. So I'm gonna do the gel pen stuff now. So that has time to dry. So for the little centers of the poinsettias, I thought it would kind of go with the frame and just be a little bit different and more, I guess, jazzy and classy for Christmas to use bronze. So I have a bronze gel pen. Here is Finn. Oh, hello. Yes. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Look up with your sweet face. Say hi, everyone. All right, Finny, I'm sorry, but I'm doing a color along. Okay, good boy. Mwah. All right, there you go. Okay, I kind of thought he would make an appearance. So anyway, as I was saying, I want to do this with a little bit more jazz and pizzazz. So I'm going to use bronze gel pen. This is a new gel pen that I just bought. I got it from Michaels. It's, I believe, a Slicci, S-L-I-C-C-I. I never heard of this brand before. It's a Pentel, actually, Pentel Slicci. And I bought 2 of them. They were kind of expensive. I believe that each of these pens was like $4 at least. I did get a discount, so I didn't pay full price for these. I think I paid $3 something, but they were more expensive than the Jelly Rolls or some of the other kinds of pens that you can buy. But I've used it on another page, on a Hannah Carlson page, and it's a really pretty color. It works really well, so it was totally worth it. I'm happy. I use bronze gel pen a lot. I really like to use the metallic gel pens to get the metal look, especially on smaller areas. If I have like a really large area, a lot of times I'll do it with colored pencil, but I really think in smaller areas, the best way to do it is to have either metallic marker or a gel pen. And this one is really pretty. It flows nice. So it was definitely worth the money. It is a smaller pen. So if you compare it to like in a Hoo-Hoo. So here's the actual end of the pen. I have the cap on the back. So you can see that it is quite a bit smaller. So it doesn't have as much ink in it. But the ink flows well and it looks really pretty. So I'm happy. So let me show that up close. I don't know if you can see the shine, the metallic of it, but it's really pretty. So now I'm going to use my black for the words and for the shoes. So I'm gonna do the words first. And again, this is a Sakura Jelly Roll Glaze pen in black. These pens are awesome. They're my favorite gel pens of all time. This pen will definitely make my best of 2023 list video that I will do in January. I have a best of or my favorite supplies for 2022 on the channel already if you'd like to check out that. But these are definitely going to make the list. They give you a very shiny and raised 3D look. So it adds a little bit of pizzazz to whatever you're doing. I use these a lot when I want something to look metal or shiny, like patent leather shoes, fencing, really good for that to make it look real. And these flow really nice. They're really nice to work with. Some of the colors are sold singly. You can find the black, the white, the red, pretty much anywhere. They're also sold in sets. You can find them in a set of, I think it's 10. And you get black, white, red, green, blue, I think a bronze or like a sepia color. You get clear, which is really cool because you can color something any color you want and then go over it and get that glossy, shiny, raised look. So it extends the life of your glaze pens. And then you can also buy them in 2-packs. So you can buy the white in 2-packs, the black in 2-packs. I believe the clear can be bought in a 2-pack. And then there are some places like Blick.com where you can buy all the colors in singles. Now I have shopped at Blick.com. I'd love to know, let me know what you think about Blick.com if you shop there in the comments. I've only shopped there once. I basically shopped there to buy more glaze gel pens. And I don't know, I found it really hard to look through their website. Like when you search something, like say you search gel pens, the search results will only give you like 3 or 5 or how many different brands they have. And then you have to click on a brand or one of those listings, and then you get everything that's made by that brand or all the other colors. And it was very counterintuitive to me. I like to search and then see all of my choices. I don't really particularly want to click on something that I don't want to try to see if there's other things that I do want. So I didn't find their website very easy to use. I also thought that they are pretty expensive. In order to get free shipping, I think you had to spend, I think it was $79. It was a lot. It was either $79 or $69, something like that. And I didn't want $70 in gel pens. So I got what I wanted, and then I still had to purchase like $40 more. And it really took me a while to search through the website to find some other things that I could buy. And I did. I found another coloring book. I got, I think I got some paper. I did get some other things, but it was a lot more than I wanted to spend. So I wasn't too happy with that. So I don't know if I'm going to be ordering from them again. It depends. Now that I've ordered, I can probably just reorder. Like if I want more of these gel pens, I could probably just reorder them really simply. But again, having to spend $79 to get free shipping, because the shipping without spending $79 or $69 or whatever it is like $8. And for me to be buying, you know, maybe $15 to $20 worth of pencils that they can stick in an envelope and paying $8 for it just was not very cost effective for me. So of course I'm going to want the free shipping, but it forces you to buy things that maybe you don't really want or need at the time. And that's kind of what happened to me. I bought another coloring book, but I certainly did not need another coloring book. I like it. I'm happy with it, but I really didn't need it, and I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. So that's sort of my issues with Blick.com. I'm sure there are other websites that you can find them in singles. So hopefully you can see the shininess of them and the 3D-ness. I mean, it's not like totally really raised, but it gives you a raised enough feeling, and it's just a little bit different. Helps whatever you color with it pop a little bit, and I like that. All right, so now I'm gonna do her shoes. Also with the black. Every little girl, especially from a long time ago, has to have patent leather shoes. Now on Amazon, you can get the black, I believe the white, and I believe the clear singly, but they don't really have the other colors. They may have red. Sometimes they do have the red. Michaels has a couple of them as well. Michaels has definitely the black, the white, the clear, and the red as well. And Michaels has a lot of really great discounts. If you buy online, they'll almost always give you a code for free shipping, and they do every week. They have some kind of promo going on, 20% off, 30% off, 40% off, buy one get one, whatever. So it's really worth it to check out Michaels.com. All right, so I'm gonna leave the black, the bottom part alone, and so now I'm going to color in the poinsettias. So I'm gonna do the red, the flower part first. So I have 3 shades of red Prismacolor. So I have Tuscan Red, sorry. I have Pomegranate, which is kind of the medium tone. And then I have Scarlet Lake. And Scarlet Lake is going to be my base color, so I'm going to color the leaves with a base layer of the Scarlet Lake. I love poinsettias. I think they're so pretty. And if you take care of them, they can last a really long time. The leaves fall off, the red leaves fall off, but you can keep the plant alive and then it will bloom again. My friend Rose has a real green thumb, and every year for Christmas, we worked together and we would get a poinsettia from work, and she would keep hers all year, and then the next Christmas it would bloom again. And I could just never keep them alive that long. They always died on me. But hers were always gorgeous. And she had one particular plant like for 3 or 4 years, and then it finally didn't bloom anymore and it died. But she kept that thing going for many years. It was amazing. My mom loved poinsettias. She would buy the biggest one she could possibly find and put them all over the house. I don't buy real ones anymore because I have a cat, and poinsettia leaves are very dangerous to cats. And I really don't have a lot of places to put a poinsettia plant where he cannot get at it. So I do not buy them. Because I would not want anything to happen to my little baby. So now I'm going to use the Tuscan Red along the lines that have been drawn in, the outsides, the tips, kind of wherever I feel like it needs a little bit of dimension. A little darker color. And it's great to cover up the areas where I got a little bit of the gelatos on some of the leaves. So it works perfect to cover those up. I'm just going in very lightly, not too dark, because I can come in and add more. And now I'm going to blend before I add the third color in. I blend at all different times. Sometimes I add all my colors and then I blend. Sometimes I do one color, like I do the base color, and then I blend after that, and then I add my other colors on top. It just depends on what I'm coloring and what look I'm trying to achieve. So I did it this way so that I can see after it's blended where I might need to add that middle color in. The Prismacolors work pretty nicely on this paper, and they blend pretty well on this paper as well. Oh, I forgot that third one. Oop. So I was doing Tuscan Red. So I'll sharpen that. Oh my. didn't even get very sharp. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, it's gonna break again. Sorry, my pencil tip keeps breaking. All right, it's not very sharp, but I'm just gonna use it. It's probably my only complaint with Prismacolors. Sometimes they don't sharpen very well. They break really easily because they're so pigmented and so soft and so easy to blend. So it can be a double-edged sword at times. All right, so now I'm gonna come in with the Scarlet Lake. Oh no, excuse me, Pomegranate. And just add a little bit of the pomegranate in. This one I'm gonna add a little bit more Tuscan Red. I think this one's kind of light. I didn't do them in order, so. I'm gonna blend one last time and I should be done with the poinsettias. You could add a little bit of white gel pen if you wanted to these leaves or some of them to give them a little shine. But I'm just gonna leave them just like that. I think it looks more vintage. So let me show you these a little bit close up. You can see them a little bit better. All right, so now I'm gonna do the leaves. So for the leaves, I have kelp green. So this is kelp green and olive green. So I believe the kelp green is the darker one. So I'm gonna start with the olive and just color in the leaves. Okay, pull down, sorry. It's been raining here today, and I think I would almost rather have snow. Rain in the wintertime is just so dreary. I don't know, there's just something like wrong about rain in the winter. It should not be raining in the winter time. It should be snowing because it's very cold out, but we are in a very mild patch right now. It's almost 50 here today, and the last 2 days we were in the high 50s. I believe yesterday it was 61, which is very uncharacteristic for us in this area. Okay, I think I got all of my leaves. There's not that many. All right. So I'm gonna blend these before I add the darker color. Because I'm only adding one other color. And blending already will help you to not put too much of that darker color on, or at least it helps me to do that. That's why I blend first sometimes. And then you usually don't have to blend again unless you do put a little bit too much on. But I'm hoping I don't have to. Okay. And now I'm gonna add my darker green. So I'm just gonna go over the lines, basically, and just do a little bit in the center. It's subtle, and that's what I want. Just want a little bit of a variation, not too much. Okay. All right, so the leaves are done. Let me show you those close up. Nothing really special. So now I'm gonna do the branches of the poinsettia. So I pulled two browns out for this. So I pulled out burnt ochre. It isn't a color I use all the time, so I thought I would use it. And I think it sort of has a vintage feel. And then dark brown. So I'm going to color the entire branches, stems, however you want to call them, in the burnt ochre. And then I'll go in with the dark brown to give it some variety. Okay, there's really not much of that, so that went really fast. So now I'm gonna do the dark brown and just add the dark brown in little random places. Okay. And now I'm just gonna blend that in. I just need to sharpen my blender first. So now that this is all blended, I do want to add just a little bit more of the dark brown. I want it to show up a little bit more. Okay. All right, so there's the plant is finished. So now I'm going to do her bow, which is going to be red to match her dress. And I pulled out some different reds to do the dress and the bow than the poinsettias. So I'm using Tuscan red, which I think I did use, but it's just a great dark red. So the other two are different. And then this, I believe, is the crimson red. Let me make sure. I think it is. Okay, I can't see the name on it, but I think it's crimson red. And then I have mahogany red, which is sort of like a brownish red. So the crimson is the lightest one, so I'm going to use that one first. Okay, that was the bow. Now I'm gonna do the dress. So I haven't talked about the pot yet, but I'm gonna do this with gold gel pen. You know how you buy them in the stores, and a lot of times they have the foil around them, like gold or red. So I'm gonna make it gold foil around this one. But it'll probably be one of the last things I do, so. So she has a little bit of like a pinafore here or a little bit of a slip. So I think I'm gonna leave that white. You could color it in with white pencil. You could color it with white Posca, even gel pen if you wanted to. Just try to make the strokes disappear if you can. But a lot of times if something has to be white, I'll just leave it white and not color it. It just depends on what it is and if I got any color or anything on it contaminated it with any of the other colors. So it just depends. Like I want her socks to be white, and I'm just gonna leave them white. I'm gonna do a little bit of contrast and shadow with some gray, but basically I'm just gonna leave them uncolored. And I'm hoping to do that with the little pinafore or the little slip. I don't even know if I'm using pinafore in the right way. If I'm not, I apologize. Okay. So now I'm going to use my Tuscan to add in the dark areas. On the bow, it's not going to be a lot because I don't want the bow to turn too dark. But now on the dress, I'm going to follow some of these lines that Marty has drawn. And I'm also going to go around the outside of the dress. Helps to give you the look of 3D-ness so it doesn't appear totally flat when you put dark colors on the edges. I apologize if I'm sniffing a lot. I'm really trying not to. This page is really coming together fast. Well, I guess relatively fast for me. Does it take you a long time to color pages? It does me. If you watched any of my color alongs, you know they're pretty long. And it doesn't matter if I'm doing something really fancy or I'm not. They just take a long time. Sometimes I think it's indecisiveness. Sometimes I go in and I don't know exactly what I'm going to color everything, so that takes up time. But yeah, it just takes me a long time to color pages. All right, and now I'm gonna use my mahogany red next to all of the areas where I just did the Tuscan red. Oh, forgot that little part. The mahogany and the Tuscan are very, very close in shade. So I may have to do another layer of the lightest red. We'll have to see how it turns out. All right. So now I'm ready to blend, and then we'll see if I need to add any colors back in. I think I'm gonna leave the bow just as it is. It's very small, so it doesn't need a lot. I was thinking of doing the dress green originally, so the poinsettias would really be sort of a feature, but I don't know, red is my favorite color, and I just decided that it would be better to do red. And then if I did it different shades, it would look different than the poinsettias. One thing I can say about this paper is that even though it's not the best and the highest quality paper, you know, the books are like $5, $6. You're not gonna get super high quality paper for that price, but they take blending very well, and you don't really get pilling or those little like balls, those little shavings that you sometimes get with Prismacolor or with other pencils that are equally as blendable. Like in Hannah Carlson books, my Prismacolors are just really pilling and balling and leaving some awkward sort of areas when I blend. And it's really annoying because that paper is really high quality. It is excellent paper in Hannah Carlson's books, but that paper really doesn't like Prismacolors too well. Or I don't know if it's the Prismacolors don't like that paper. I'm not sure which it is, but when I blend, it doesn't come out often as smooth as it is on this paper. So it just goes to show you really need to test and use pencils that are appropriate for the paper if you can. All right, so there's the dress. So I'm gonna add some more of the Tuscan red in just a few places. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more of the mahogany red. You can see I'm using a lot of circular motions when I do this. Helps me to control it better so I don't put too much down. And now I'm gonna use a little bit of white to put in like the centers, just some of the areas where I want to be a little bit lighter, show a little bit of highlight. It's very subtle. You may not even see it on camera, but I see it. It really does make a difference. Just to add a little bit of highlight. So let me see if I can show that to you. Hopefully you can see how it's lighter where I put the white. Okay, I really like her dress. It looks lovely. All right, so I'm gonna make the bow green. So I have 2 different shades of green to do this. So I'm gonna use apple green and dark green for contrast. So I'm gonna color the bow in the apple green. To me, apple green is really a true green. A little bit on the light side, but it really is a nice color when you just want more of a plain, regular green. Okay. Now again, I'm going to blend and then add the dark green in. A little bit of the red is coming off from my blender from doing the dress. I probably should have sharpened it or just run it over a sheet of paper for a few strokes, but I forgot, so it's not that bad, I don't think. I don't think it shows up that much. And I'll cover those areas with the dark green. Okay. And now I'll use my dark green. Just taking a second to pop another cough drop. I've had 3 so far during this color along. So again, I'm just coming in areas that I think should be a little bit darker. I'm going very lightly. I am gonna blend some of it because I went a little darker in some areas than I wanted and it doesn't look exactly blended, so. Okay. Now on top of the bow, I am going to use, hopefully, if I have it, yep, some clear glitter pen. This is a Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen, and you can use it over marker, colored pencil, paint, whatever, to add just a little bit of sparkle to whatever you want. It's very, very subtle. Sometimes I put 2 coats on because sometimes it's hard to see, but and you really can't see it until it dries. So you won't know there's any sparkle until it dries completely. So I will show you that when it's dried, and hopefully it will be sparkly. So now I'm gonna do her hair, and then I'll do the skin. So for her hair, I want her to be a blonde. I think it will contrast well with the other colors I have in here. So I'm using Jasmine. I believe this is Sable. And a Crayola color, medium deep golden. This comes from the Crayola Skin Tone Colors of the World 24 set. And I just like some of these colors. Crayolas don't blend as well. They're not as soft. So I hope that this will work the way I hope it will, but we will see once I use it. So I am going to start with the lightest color. So I'm going to bring you down. So I'm going to use the, the sable, and do an all over layer of the sable. I'm not going very dark. I'm not pressing very hard at all, just very light. Okay. So now I'm going to use that brown, the medium deep golden, wherever I want it to be darker. So at the roots and at the tops and the bottoms of each strand. Okay. This is really, really light. It does not color super well on top of the Prisma, which is fine. Keeps it nice and light. Going over some of the other areas where it's just not as dark as I would like it to be. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of the jasmine here and there. Not too much. The jasmine is a deeper yellow, and it'll just give it a little pop. But again, this is such a small area of hair. I don't have to go very heavy with it at all. And I'm just going to do a tiny bit of blending. Actually, I'm going to sharpen that. So I just used it on the green bow, and I don't want to get any green in her hair. So, all right, I'm just sharpening. I'm just blending a little bit. Not much at all. Again, this is such a small area of hair. It doesn't need a lot of futzing with. So I'm just gonna take, where's that brown from earlier? All right, I'm just gonna take a little bit of the dark brown and just add a little bit of contrast in. I'm just doing some light strokes, very light. Okay. So that's her hair. So now I'm gonna do her skin. So I had not really pulled out skin colors because I kind of forgot. So let me just quickly get some skin colors. Her to be a little on the pinky peachy side, I think. All right. And I think I'll use maybe a little bit of the dark brown for the darker color. So I've pulled out light peach and peach. So I'm gonna do an all over color with an all over layer with the light peach first. Oh, I just realized I didn't color her eyebrows. So I will do that in a second. Yikes, we don't want her to have white eyebrows. I apologize if there's a little bit of camera shake. I did get a little green on her fingers, so I can take care of that with the brown when I add it in. So I'm gonna do her eyebrows with the jasmine. So she has nice blonde eyebrows. So now I'm gonna use the dark brown super lightly around the edges and to give some definition and add 3D-ness to her skin. I am coloring so super lightly. Add a little bit between the eyes and the nose for some definition of the nose. And I'm just doing a little bit darker over her eyes, like right under her eyelids. Again, the area for this is really small. There's just not a lot of surface area of her skin, so I'm basically just going around the edges. Ever so lightly. I will be blending this out so it'll all hopefully blend seamlessly. Okay. I'm just coming in and I'm doing a little, like these little kind of hooks there to indicate the knee. It just gives a little more semblance of realism. And now I'm gonna take my peach and go right next to inside of where I did the dark brown. Again, I'm doing it so lightly. Really, really light. Because this area is so small. There's just not a lot of skin on this, which is fine with me. Coloring skin is not one of my favorite things to do. I feel like I've gotten better at it over the years, but I feel like there's just so much room for error and so much opportunity, or so many opportunities to make it look a mess, and I definitely have on certain pages. If you've watched some of my videos, you've seen them. So a lot of times I do the skin first to get it over with. I have Anastasia Ellie's, most of her portrait books, or maybe all of them, I'm not sure. I might have all of them. And in those, I will often do all the skins first, because coloring skin is really stressful for me, so I like to get it over with. All right, and now I'm going to blend that all out. And it does look really subtle. It's supposed to. And such a small little face, small little area. I am going to add some more of the light peach. In some of the center areas. All right, I don't think I'm gonna do too much more on her face. I feel like her face looks pretty decent. Okay. All right, so there's her skin. And I am going to give her a very pretty pink lip. Maybe. Okay, that's a color I forgot to pull out as well. All right, so I have rose. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna sharpen this a little bit. Depends when you're doing really small areas, it's better to have a sharper point so you don't get stuff all over. All right. And I am going to take the apple green and just do her eyes very, very lightly. I'm just gonna go back in with gel pen, white gel pen, in the rest of her eye, just to make sure that that she doesn't have green eyes. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to do the pot with gold gel pen. So this is a jelly roll. Is this a jelly roll? Yep, this is a jelly roll metallic. So this one I'm almost out of, so I might have to switch to another pen, which is fine. Actually, I just noticed that I need to do the dirt. So I'm just coming in with my dark brown. Actually, this is green. Now I'm gonna go over that with dark brown. If I can find where I put my dark brown. Okay, here it is. Whoops. All right. Yeah, soil is usually not great. So while I was off camera, because it is now a different day, I finished the pot in the gold pen. So I used a gold metallic jelly roll pen. So let me show you what that looks like. And this is not particularly shiny. And it's kind of a, I guess what I would call a duller gold or a muted gold. It's not especially bright, which I'm okay with. So right now I'm just going over it in a few places to just make sure I have good coverage and just to give it a second coat in a few areas. All right, so next I am going to do one more coat of white Posca in this area because I did get some of the frame colors as well as some other colors just coloring the picture in this background area. Hi Finn, here's Finny again. Yep. We were just playing with his little laser toy and I think he's a little mad at me. I think he wanted to keep playing. So, all right, buddy, come on. Oh. All right, Mommy will continue with you later, okay? Oh, I just dropped a bunch of my pencils on the floor while moving him. All right. Sorry about the break here. When you have animals, sometimes they take you off course. All right, so as I was saying, I'm going to go over my mistakes with white Posca one more time, just to make sure that I have all of that unwanted color covered. Because I'm gonna do this interior part in a light green. So I want to make sure that nothing is going to contaminate that. White Posca is very good for covering your mistakes. I like it better than gel pen because gel pen has a slickness to it and it's often hard for you to then go over it with wax colored pencils or even oil-based colored pencils because they are partially wax as well. So I find for me, covering up slip-ups works better with Posca pen. I'm using the, I think this is the medium tip. It's a bullet tip. They have lots and lots of different tips available. You can get smaller, but I tend to use this one pretty much for everything unless I'm coloring a really large area. Now I do have mistakes on the outer edge, but I'm not going to Posca them because I'm gonna do this outer part in a darker color, either black or red. And that should cover up these boo-boos quite well. So now I am going to just let that dry a bit, and I'm gonna pull out the greens that I chose. So I chose two colors because I'm going to do one all over, and then the darker one I'll use towards the edges and around where she is and where the plants and things interact with the background. So I used Prismacolor pencils for most of this, but I couldn't find a green that I really wanted to use for the background in my Prismas. So I pulled out a couple Brutfuners. So this is Boa, and I would say this is very close to a sage green. And then this one is Split Pea. And the Split Pea is sort of like an ivy color but lighter, with a little bit of yellow in it. So I thought these would complement each other quite well. So I'm gonna start with the Boa. That's going to be my basic color. And I'm gonna start in all of these really small areas to just make sure that I give that white Posca a good opportunity to dry. I think this color gives a very vintage feel to the background. I'm not trying to burnish or anything, but I am trying to put a nice solid layer down. I'm so excited. I had been looking everywhere for the peppermint patty snowflakes. I don't know if you like peppermint patties, but I love peppermint patties, and they are sold out everywhere. And I finally found them yesterday at Aldi of all places. So I bought a couple bags from Aldi. They were actually in stock. They were a little bit expensive. I think they were $4 a bag. I believe there was a discount. If you bought 2, you got $2 off, something like that. And so I did that. And there's really not that many in each bag. I wouldn't say the price is totally worth it, but the snowflakes are just so cute. They're packaged really nicely, so I just thought I would go ahead and splurge on those. So I had to hide them so they're not eaten before Christmas. So hopefully they will make it to at least December 24th. Other than that, I really haven't bought any other Christmas candy. Really, the only other thing I like are the marshmallows, the Russell Stover, like marshmallow Santas, and they have marshmallow in different flavors. They have regular marshmallow, they have chocolate, they have caramel, they have raspberry. That's my favorite kind, the raspberry. I could just pop those like potato chips. They're my favorite candy. But the problem is that they have become so expensive. One of those little marshmallow Santas is $1.50, and sometimes even more than that at certain stores. It is craziness. It really is. So I don't buy them that often because it really bugs me to pay so much for such a small little piece of candy that is gone in like two or 3 bites. So I only buy them very occasionally. I think I bought them once so far this season, and I haven't bought any more. I also like the Peeps, and now the Peeps aren't just for Easter. They have them for pretty much every holiday. I really like Peeps too. So sometimes I'll buy just one little package of like 3, and that's enough to please me, to keep me happy. I don't need to eat a lot of those. They are so sweet. And I'm sure they're like 100% sugar, but they're super cute. And now they have so many different varieties. They have different flavors. You can get chocolate ones, mint ones. So I really like those. What kind of Christmas candy do you like? Let me know in the comments. Do you eat anything in particular while you're coloring? I usually don't. I usually don't have food with me when I'm coloring. A lot of times I forget about it. I'm just so into the coloring process that I don't even remember that I have food there. I do always have something to drink, but I normally do not have food. And sometimes I have had food and then it's spilled, because as you can see, my cat will just jump right up on my work and walk right over things. So sometimes he has knocked things over. So I kind of have to be careful so I don't really keep too much around that could possibly harm my page. So now I'm just doing a quick second layer on top, just to make sure this is deep enough and I have the color that I want, and I have enough so I'll be able to blend properly. And now I'm gonna take the darker color, which is Split Pea, and go around the edges and around her and the poinsettia a little bit, just to add a different shade, a little bit of dimension. This is a little bit of a brighter color, so it's adding some brightness to it. And these two colors are not exactly in the same tone. Some people are really picky about that. They want everything to be tonally matching. Sometimes I do that, definitely, but there are other times when I am perfectly fine with going outside of tone. I don't think it's completely necessary to always have your tones of the same color totally matching. And now I'm just going around the edges like I would a shadow. If you've watched any of my other color alongs or some of my other videos, you've heard me say this before. I am not an artist. I'm not an expert on shadows or lighting, any of that. I just do what looks good to me. Oftentimes I put the shadows or the darker colors on the right side of everything, but I don't always, it just depends. This, I'm just kind of going around all the edges, or most of them, because I'm not really doing a shadow here. I'm just trying to add a little bit of difference and dimension to the background with a different shade. I'm not being very precise. Just going around. All right, so now I'm gonna get my blender and blend this out. Once again, I'm using my Prismacolor blender. I don't love the blending process. I kind of feel like I'm coloring it over again, but I like the results. I like what happens as a result of the blending, and I think it gives the area or your work a nice finished look, which I really like. So do you want any coloring supplies or books for Christmas? Let me know in the comments what you want Santa to bring you. Surprisingly enough, I don't want anything. I'm pretty content with everything I have. The only thing I would want to complete my collection or to add to what I have, I would say would be a set of polychromos, which I'm probably not going to get. So there's really nothing that I want. I have a ton of books. I probably have close to 175 books now. I definitely don't need any coloring books. I do have a few in my Amazon cart that I want to purchase. I want to purchase Spirit Animals again. I'm working on coloring that, finishing it, and I'm just loving it, and I probably want to do another one. And then I do want Hannah Carlson's new one. I think it's Atlantis or Tales from Atlantis, something like that. All right, so I finished the blending, and now I'm just gonna add a little bit more of this darker color in just a few places. I almost want the background to look kind of worn, kind of old. You could add some more colors in here. You could add a little bit of browns, some yellows in here as well if you wanted to take it a little bit further, make it really look like old paper. I'm not gonna go that far, but I'm just adding a little bit more of this darker green in places. Just kind of going haphazard with it. All right, so there's the background. Hopefully you can see that. So now I'm gonna take my grays that I pulled out here. So I have warm gray 20%, and I had another one pulled out, but somehow it has disappeared. So I'm just looking through my container of grays. Okay, and then here is warm gray 90%. I'm gonna do this little area down here. Again, it could be shadow, it could be ice, it could be whatever you would like it to be. I'm kind of coloring it as shadow. I was tempted to color right over this as well and just kind of ignore it, but I felt like with what I was doing with gelatos that it would, the black lines would show through. The gelatos are not super opaque unless you do a lot of layers, unless you keep going over and over and over it with the gelato, and I really didn't want to do that because this paper can only take so much. It's not super high quality paper, and I didn't want to risk it not standing up to that much. So and now I'm just adding in the darker one, just haphazardly. And now I'm gonna blend those two. Now I'm just going over it again. Again, sometimes when you blend, you take off a little bit of the pencil layer, so sometimes you have to put it back in. So now I have this little area that I left white on the shoes, but I don't really like that. So I'm going to just grab my black gel pen and do that with black gel, just like I did the rest of the shoe. I'm not really sure why I left that. I think maybe I was thinking I would do it with just regular black, like a regular black gel pen that's not the glaze. But I don't really need to do that. All right, so now I'm gonna take my darker gray, my 90% gray, and just do a few shadows here and there. So I'm gonna do them a little bit outside of the poinsettias, around her, in the foil, and on her socks. And again, I do not do this with any kind of precision as far as, or knowledge as far as where shadows go. I usually just do them around the right edges of whatever it is. I'm just going to do a little bit on this green background. I don't want it to be too harsh. I'm going a little bit darker against the brownish gold frame because it's a little bit darker. I'm just going ever so lightly on the green background. Because I already put in that darker green color, so I'm not going to so actually here I kind of took out the black edge line of the bow there, so I just put that back in. Gonna go over that with a little bit of green to fill that in and make sure that looks decent. All right, so now I'm just continuing. Now I'm going to do them on the socks. I'm just kind of following the little folds that Marty drew. And I'm going around the interior of the shoe because there'd be a tiny shadow there. Shoes never fit perfectly where you had no shadow. Just doing a little bit around her. Adding a little bit more under her chin because there will be darkness there. So I'm going to do a little bit on the foil here. This foil usually has like folds and crinkles, so I think that's kind of what she's trying to draw in there. Just did a little bit there. Doing a little bit where her dress meets the skin. A little bit with the leaf there. Setting a little bit with her dress. And it's funny, when I'm adding shadows, I almost always find places where I missed putting a shadow. So that's why I just don't worry about being perfect. I don't worry about getting every shadow. I do what looks good at the time. stop. Okay, I think that is everything. So the only thing I have to do is the very background, but I'm not going to do that. You probably don't want to see me color with Posca pen on the outside. So I'm going to call this finished, and you'll be able to see the complete page on the thumbnail. I'll also post it on my Instagram and my Facebook pages as well. If you don't belong to either my Instagram or Facebook group, I encourage you and would love it if you would join those. I'm trying to grow those as well as my channel. And again, you'll get to see all of my completed pages. I also post the videos there, so you could just go there and watch them instead of going on YouTube if that's easier. So thank you so much for watching this video. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed it. As you can see, I'm adding a little bit of shadow around the hands and the pot because I kind of forgot that. So I'm just adding that in real quick. All right, there we go. Make that a little thicker so the pot is perceived a little bit away from her body. Okay, now I'm done. So and again, so I hope that you enjoyed this color along, enjoyed the video. Please give it a like if you did. It really helps me out. And I would love to see your completed pages. You can post them to the Facebook group if you join. I'm not sure if you can post them in the community tab here on YouTube. I still haven't totally figured that out. But I would love to see your completed pages if you have this book. So let me show it to you. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Hopefully show you the whole entire page at once. There it is. I think it came out really great. It looks really vintage and worn. I really like that look. It looks better. Actually, it came out better than I thought. So I'm really excited about this page. I think it came out really great. It has a really vintage feel, and I really enjoyed it. It was a very fun page to do, and I will definitely do another one in this book. Not sure about this season, but I think you can color Christmas pages anytime. So look out for another color along in this book sometime in the future on my channel. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have an absolutely fabulous and, of course, a very crafty day. See you next time.